of Universal Peace by Abdul Baha Abbas. "60 years ago, this has come to pass. The powers cannot withstand the privileges and bestowals which God has provided for this great and glorious century. It is a need, an exigency of the time. Man can withstand anything except that which is divinely intended and indicated for the age and its requirements. Now praise be to God. In all countries of the world, the lovers of peace are to be found, and these principles are being spread among mankind, especially in this country. Praise be to God. This thought is prevailing, and souls are continually arising as defenders of the oneness of humanity, endeavoring to assist and establish international peace. There is no doubt that this wonderful democracy will be able to realize it, and the banner of international agreement will be unfurled here to spread onward and outward among all the nations of the world. I give thanks to God that I find you imbued with such susceptibilities and lofty aspirations. I hope that you will be the means of spreading this light to all men. Thus may the sun of reality shine upon the east and west. The enveloping clouds shall pass away, and the heat of the divine rays will dispel the mist. The reality of man shall develop and come forth as the image of God, his creator. Image belonging to God. The thoughts of man shall take upward flight, that former accomplishments shall appear as the play of children, for the ideas and beliefs of the past and prejudices regarding race and religion have ever lowered and been destructive to human evolution. I am most hopeful that in this century these lofty thoughts shall be conducive to human welfare. Let this century be the sun of previous centuries, the effulgences of which shall last forever, so that in times to come they shall glorify the 20th century, saying, the 20th century was the century of lights. The 20th century was the century of life. The 20th century was the century of international peace. The 20th century was the century of divine bestowals. And the 20th century has left traces which shall last forever." Well, that last sentence proved to be true. The 19th of May, 1912. Talk at the Church of the Divine Paternity, Central Park West, New York. Now, God's not, if we think about it, it's pretty obvious that us humans are not really children of their sort of God. But notes by Esther Foster. Religions are many, but the reality of religion is one. The days are many, but the sun is one. The fountains are many, but the fountainhead is one. The branches are many, but the tree is one. The fountain of the divine religions is reality. Were there no reality, there would be no religions. Abraham heralded reality. Moses promulgated reality. Christ established reality. Muhammad was the messenger of reality. The Bab was the door of reality. Baha'u'llah was the splendor of reality. Reality is one. It does not admit multiplicity or division. Reality is as the sun, which shines forth from the different dawning points. It is as the light, which has illumined many lanterns. Therefore, if the religions investigate reality and seek the essential truth of their own foundations, they will agree, and no difference will be found. But inasmuch as religions are submerged in dogmatic imitations, well, the thing about dogma is it just depends on what the dogma is, whether one should be dogmatic about it. Forsaking the original foundations. Be fundamentalist, people. Be fundamentalist. And as imitations differ widely, therefore the religions are divergent and antagonistic. These imitations may be likened to clouds which obscure the sunrise, but reality is the sun. If the clouds disperse, the sun of reality shines upon all, and no difference of vision will exist. The religions will then agree, for fundamentally they are the same. The subject is one. but predicates are many. The divine religions are like the progression of the seasons of the year, when the earth becomes dead and desolate, and because of frost and cold no trace of vanished spring remains. The springtime dawns again and clothes everything with a new garment of life. The meadows become fresh and green, the trees are adorned with verdure, and fruits appear on them. Then the winter comes again, and all traces of spring disappear. This is the continuous cycle of the seasons: spring, winter, then the return of spring. But though the calendar changes and the years move forward, each springtime that comes is the return of the springtime that is gone. This springtime is the renewal of the former spring. Springtime is springtime, no matter when or how often it comes. The divine prophets are as the coming of spring, each renewing and quickening the teachings of the prophet who came before him. Just as all seasons of spring are essentially one as to the newness of life, vernal showers and beauty, so the essence of the mission and accomplishment of all the prophets is one and the same. All the prophets of God or any particular entity, one would figure. Now the people of religion have lost sight in the essential reality of the spiritual springtime. They've held tenaciously to ancestral forms and imitations, and because there is variance, strife, and altercation among them, therefore we must abandon these imitations and seek the foundation of the divine teachings, and inasmuch as the foundation is one reality, the divergent religionists must agree in it, so that love and unity will be established among all people and denominations. At a time when the Orient was rent by religious dissension, Baha'u'llah appeared. He founded teachings which became the means of uniting the various and divergent peoples. He promulgated principles which removed the cause of their dissension. Until today in Persia, those who've been constantly at war are united. Christians, Muslimin, Kanunzadosht, Jews, people of every belief and denomination have followed the teachings of Baha'u'llah, have attained complete fellowship and spiritual agreement. Former differences and dissensions have passed away entirely. Some of the principles of Baha'u'llah's teaching are as follows. Well, okay, so they're saying, well, we didn't make peace among anybody except those who accepted our group. First, that the oneness of humanity shall be recognized and established. The Unitarians kind of make similar claims. Same thing with the Catholic Church and whatever. All men are the servants of God. He has created all. He is the provider and preserver. He is the loving to all. Inasmuch as he is just and kind, why should we be unjust to each other? As God has quickened us with life, why should we be the cause of death? As he has comforted us, why should we be the cause of anxiety and suffering? Can humanity conceive a plan and policy better and superior to that of God? It is certain that no matter how capable man may be in origination of plan and organization of purpose, his efforts will be adequate when compared with the divine plan and purpose, for the policy of God is perfect. Therefore, we must follow the will and plan of God. He is kind to all. We must be likewise. It is certain that this will be most acceptable to God. Second, that truth or reality must be investigated, for reality is one, and by investigating it, all will find love and unity. Those who are ignorant must be educated, the ailing must be healed, and the undeveloped must be brought to maturity. Shall we reject or oppose the ignorant, sick, or immature because of their incapacity? Is it not better to be kind and gentle and to provide the means of remedy? Therefore, under no circumstance whatsoever should we assume any attitude except that of gentleness and humility. Third, that religion is in harmony with science. The fundamental principles of the prophets are scientific, but the forms and imitations which have appeared are opposed to science. If religion does not agree with science, it is superstition and ignorance, for God has endowed man with reason in order that he may perceive reality. The foundations of religion are reasonable. God has created us with intelligence to perceive them. If they are opposed to science and reason, how could they be believed and followed? Fourth, that religion must be conducive to love and unity among mankind. Four, if it be the cause of enmity and strife, the absence of religion is preferable. When Moses appeared, the tribes of Israel were in a state of disunion as captives of the Pharaohs. Moses gathered them together, and the divine law established fellowship among them. They became as one people, united, consolidated, after which they were rescued from bondage. They passed into the promised land, advanced in all degrees, developed sciences and arts, progressed in material affairs, increased in divine or spiritual civilization, until their nation rose to its zenith. In the sovereignty of Solomon, it is evident, therefore, that religion is the cause of unity, fellowship, and progress among mankind. The function of a shepherd is to gather the sheep together and not to scatter them. And Christ appeared, he united varying and divergent creeds and warring people of his time. He brought together the Greeks and Romans, reconciled Egyptians and Assyrians, Chaldeans and Phoenicians. Christ established unity and agreement among the people of these hostile and warring nations, and therefore it is again evident that the purpose of religion is peace and concord. Likewise, Muhammad appeared at a time when the peoples and tribes of Arabia were divergent and in a state of continual warfare. They killed each other, pillaged, and took captive wives and children. Muhammad united these fierce tribes, established a foundation of fellowship among them, so that they gave up warring against each other absolutely and established communities. The result was that the Arabian tribes freed themselves from the Persian yoke and Roman control, established an independent sovereignty which rose to a high degree of civilization, advanced in sciences and arts, extended the Saracen domain as far west as Spain and Andalusia, and became famous throughout the world. Therefore, it proved once more that the religion of God is intended to be the cause of advancement and solidarity, and not of enmity and dissolution. If it becomes the cause of hatred and strife, its absence is preferable. Its purpose is unity, and its foundations are one. When Baha'u'llah appeared in Persia, violent strife and hatred separated the peoples and tribes of that country. They would not come together for any purpose except war. They would not partake of the same food or drink of the same water. Associate